Hey, it's Conrad Thompson, and you're listening to Be the Man. And of course, we couldn't do it without the Hall of Famer himself, the greatest of all time, ladies and gentlemen, the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Rick, how are you, man?
Good, young man. How are you?
Man, better than I deserve. Excited to be on with you. Feels like there's a lot going on right now, and we're going to
Holy cow.
what's on your mind today. Before we get started, I guess we should talk about what happened last night. And no, we're not even talking about wrestling. You and I were both watching a little Monday Night Football, and something really scary happened with Buffalo Bill, Damar Hamlin. A lot of people who were there all those years ago said it reminded them of the Owen Hart situation. If you're maybe not aware, we had a Buffalo Bill take a blow to the chest and then stand up, collapse, and they administered CPR on the field. It was a really scary sight. They canceled the football game. I've never seen anything like this before in a football game, Rick. What were you thinking watching this last night?
Well, I was horrified for the young man. Obviously, what I was thinking, how classy right now is the NFL. Really, I just couldn't. I was so overwhelmed with the fact that they were so sensitive to that, which they should be. It's a major deal when someone goes down like that, and to see the players, you never know. I mean, I know a lot about cardiac. I know a lot about arithmetic problems, so I'm really sensitive to it. I know what they're talking. I know what he's going through. I mean, it's just horrible for his family, and I thought it showed so much class and so much respect from the NFL, and it certainly, you know, all his friends and family and the football players that tweeted out. Just shows the kind of support and brotherhood that football is. I mean, I think it's phenomenal. And it opens up the door to a whole bunch of other conversations like the CTE issues and the guys that have got really banged up for years and never got a dime. So,
Would you hesitate if you had young kids right now? Would you hesitate to let them play football?
no, I'd rather have them play football than wrestle.
Hmm.
Do you know how lucky we don't have more guys get really hurt?
Yeah, I totally agree.
I mean, that crazy stuff they do now is. I'm very respectful of it, but I just some of the athletic maneuvers and the stuff they do to raise the bar is phenomenal. So I just once again I'm just honored to be a football fan and see that the NFL did the right thing and arguably shut down what was probably the biggest game of the year in a lot of people's estimation.
Yeah. Well, we saw a
So
couple big
so
games.
humanity came first. Oh God, let's not talk about football. College football, my God. Georgia's the luckiest some bitches alive.
Wait. Hang on. I think in the distance there, I can hear Ric Flair going "woo" for Michigan, but I don't hear that right now. What happened, Rick?
They played their worst game of the year. It's very simple. They fumbled on the 1 yard line twice, and they threw two pick sixes.
I
It's the greatest weekend of college football I've ever seen
oh
because
gosh, yeah.
7 points changed the difference in the game.
It was an unbelievable show. I actually watched on ESPN too. I don't know if you got a chance to see that feed, but we had our friend of the show, Cole Kubelik, and some of his pals from Pat McAfee's show do the
No,
first.
I saw that. What wasn't Alabama on ESPN too, or were they on Plus?
Alabama was on ESPN, you asshole.
We thought maybe you guys were Plus. I wasn't sure.
I guess.
Hey, my documentary gets more ratings than Plus.
Hey, listen, we haven't talked about your documentary. Of course, I was without internet for 6 days last week, so
No,
our
Let's finish the football deal. So
well, let's
what?
talk about what you think is going to happen next. Unbelievably, it's TCU in Georgia. I don't think that's what anybody would have ever predicted. I don't know.
I'll be I'll be watching the Monday Night Football game.
instead of that.
Is there an NFL game?
I'm sure there will be. My goodness.
There's got to be, right? Instead of that, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the early lines are for that game, but you got to think Georgia's just going to take care of business there.
Yeah,
Right?
I just got to throw one more thing at you that I'm sure you're shocked about. Tulane beat Southern California.
Yeah, I didn't have that on my bingo card.
Did you see that?
Yeah, it was a weird weekend for bowl games because the games that you didn't think would be close were.
But who? Tulane.
I agree.
And USC is supposed to be a top-ranked team? My God.
Yeah.
I'm talking about a school with 4,000 kids in it.
Let's talk about your documentary. You know, I wasn't able to catch up with you last week. I was sans internet for 6 days. All I've seen is pretty much universal praise about the documentary. What's the feedback you've seen so far?
Everybody from Lance Armstrong to God, I mean, everybody has seen it. I mean, it's all. I know it's because it's me, but everywhere I go, that everybody has seen it. I have a pretty close number, but I'm not. I can't say it. If it's right, we'll have fun with it next week. And the number of what views that it got the first day is going to be staggering when I give you the amount. But I don't know the precise figure. But next week, man, we probably will have a lot to talk about.
I don't know what that means, but I'm excited to hear the number now. I got blown up from people who I didn't even know watched wrestling or kept up with anything.
Yeah.
Since, as you can tell, I'm in a different location today. I took Megan to the beach for her birthday, and while we were down here, I heard from who you recall, number one. She wanted to know if she could get the access to the Peacock to see the documentary. So,
Really?
Yeah, my mother-in-law Leslie, she got a chance to catch it last night.
She did, really, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the talk of the town, man. How do you keep doing it?
Well, now she can say she lived the legend.
Oh my gosh, live the legend. Hey, speaking of legends, another one has grown since we've spoken. I didn't know. I was in the dark. I took my wife out with some friends to our comedy show and then went to dinner and woke up the next morning scrolling through Twitter. And I saw that the Queen is now a 14-time WWE World Champion. I didn't know it was coming. I knew she was coming back eventually.
Conrad,
it would be like that.
I was in the building and left and didn't know it.
Oh, my goodness.
It is the first time in so many years that nobody knew. Actually, I was in the building. I went and saw Roman and John and all. God, it was like the greatest time. I mean, just really felt like part of the family again, man. I'm like, I just had a ball. But I didn't even know. I left and went to American Social. And then I got word that she was there. Of course, I'd had a couple of drinks with the hockey players. So the hockey players here in Atlanta like to drink. So I wasn't going to go back to the building, but I mean, I watched it and they put on every TV for me. It was amazing. But now that was really old school kayfabe.
Yes, I loved it.
Yeah. And then it was funny. Then I'm reading about, thinking to myself how cool that was. Because I don't remember that happening for a long time when there wasn't even an inkling
right
of something like that. And then I'm reading in one of those wrestling things, that next thing up is Bianca Belair is going to lose the belt to Becky Lynch, and Becky Lynch is going to wrestle Rhea Ripley. And I mean, it just goes on and on. This time, if any of that's true, I hope they don't beat Bianca, but if they do, I mean, it doesn't make a difference. It just goes to show you if they really have their mind set on doing something and keeping it on the QT, they can do it. And I think it's so much. I think personally, it's so much better for wrestling when they can do stuff like that, and everybody can keep their mouth shut because God only knows That's why she wouldn't tell me. She's like, "I got a big mouth." She knows I'd tell you. She knows I would tell you.
Well, I mean, she knows we would talk about it on the show in code and try to, But hey,
No, it wouldn't be that. But even if I knew that day, she knows I would call you and say, "Don't miss it," right?
yeah.
She knows me. So, but I can't believe I was in the building there for an hour and a half. Saw everybody, Hunter, everybody was great. Just God, I felt like I'm family again, which is the greatest feeling in the world. I mean, some of those guys, not the wrestlers, of course, but some of the technical people have been there for 30 years. I talked to Kevin Dunn a lot. I mean, it was really, for me, it was very heartwarming. And of course, just to see Ashley come back and win 14 times. I mean, God. And she looks better than ever. My God.
I'm excited to see where they go from here, and I'm excited to see what the men's side looks like.
NMLS number 65084, equal housing lender. Woo!
The 5-star reviews are in and it's confirmed. SaveWithConrad.com can save you thousands. Jimmy E writes that we saved his family more than $1,000 a month. James S says we saved his family more than $1,200 a month. But how much can you save? It's free to find out right now at SaveWithConrad.com. But if you've got a second mortgage, if you've got credit card debt, or even worse, if you're in a 30-year loan, it's not a matter of if we can save you money, but a matter of how much at SaveWithConrad.com.
There's been some conjecture that maybe they're making some WrestleMania plans. What if The Rock isn't available? Who would Roman face? What would Cody Rhodes be doing? And John Cena seemingly is back to do a little bit here and there. There's been some speculation that maybe we'll get Cody Rhodes versus John Cena. Maybe we'll get Roman Reigns versus John Cena. If The Rock is not available, what would your preference be?
Well, as I said before, my first preference, I'm tied with two things. I'd like to see Cody and or Randy Orton if he's back. I don't think Randy. I think you look up. I don't think Randy and Roman have ever worked, except in a tag match maybe. But obviously, Cody was on fire when he got injured, and I mean, he brings so much energy, and I mean, he has really become a hell of a talent, and I think that'd be a great match also. Hell, it's sold out. They can do what they want. I think it's sold out both nights already.
Absolutely. His performance has been Cody Rhodes against Seth Rollins in that Hell in a Cell with the torn pectoral.
Yeah.
A lot of people had that down as their match of the year last year, just because they knew the agony and excruciating pain that Cody was clearly in, and the story that it told. Other people would say, well, technically this match was better, or technically that match had more high spots. As far as you've seen it all.
Who would be the other people that you're talking about?
Well, guys that you might not be familiar with, like Will Ospreay. We've talked about him before.
Oh yeah, okay, I got you.
One of the best wrestlers of the last few years, and certainly he had a banner year last year. And I don't think
you're talking about wrestlers' comments. I thought you were talking about some fan who hides behind some phony name.
In your opinion, where does, as far as just a gutsy performance, where does Cody with a torn pec in a Hell in a Cell against Seth Rollins rank for you? It's got to be near the top, right?
Of last year, yeah, absolutely. I give Seth all the credit in the world. It was great. And if a guy wants, it doesn't hurt Seth. It makes Cody, and the great ones can get beat every day and still be great.
Right.
I mean, that's my take on it. And losing a fall here or there, then they give it back to him. And I mean, I thought it was a great match. I thought both matches they had were good. And they had two, right?
Yeah, they've had a series of matches, and I thought they were all really well done. But I also saw an interview where it looks like Cody was campaigning to win the world title. He talked a lot about that, where this is, the single belt that eluded Dusty, of course, being WA world champion. His dad checked that box, and so has Cody. But the one that always escaped Dusty was the New York belt. And supposedly there was even a picture on their family mantle of him when he just held it up after a match with Superstar.
Yeah, Cody refers to it as the chip his dad never got.
Yes. Do you think that? Do you think that's in the cards for Cody? Could you see the WWE getting behind Cody and making him the guy?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to take a long time to replace. I mean, he could be the co-guy with Roman.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's important to have more than one guy.
You got to have a guy on SmackDown and a guy on Raw, I think.
Yeah, and you know, if you're lucky enough to have like two on each show, and two great women on each show, and then. But I think Roman. If Roman wins or loses, it doesn't matter. I'm sure they'd have a hell of a match. The storyline would be great. I mean, anything that involves the name Rhodes, Cody Rhodes. I mean, they're always going to go back to his dad, the history of that relationship. Just looking at the reality of it, it's just too good a story to pass up, and Dusty will be interwoven in throughout the whole thing. You know, Michelle will be there. I mean, it'll be a big deal.
Let's jump into some questions. Today we've decided we're going to ask Rick anything, and we mean it. Roy on Twitter wants to know, I'd love to hear directly from Rick himself. How come he didn't work the event in Mexico City in 1983 for CMLL for their 49th anniversary? He was originally booked and even landed in Mexico 2 days before the event, as there are press photos, but he never wrestled in Arena Mexico. Boy, that's
very simple answer. Manny used to ask me that. Luderoff never picked me up. I sat in a hotel. Good thing I took somebody with me.
They never picked you up.
They never picked me up at the hotel. There were no cell phones back then.
Right.
They never picked me up.
So have you ever been to Arena Mexico?
Well, I was there. Is it in Mexico City?
Yes.
Well, what was I in with Manny?
Square Garden, I guess. Well, no, that wasn't CMLL runs Arena Mexico. You did a Triple Mania with AAA.
Yeah. Okay. The answer. Yeah. I've been. I never wrestled for WWE except in Monterey. And I've my only other trip to Mexico City itself was with Manny and Charlotte to wrestle.
Kenny Omega.
Yeah, Kenny Omega. Yeah. So I really enjoyed that, but no, I haven't wrestled it that much. I've spent more time vacationing there than I have wrestling.
Just Scott on Twitter wants to know, of all the enhancement talent that Rick has worked with, what memories does he have of working with Mike Jackson?
The best. Mike's a good guy.
He is a
good guy. Yeah. Is he still working?
Yeah, man. He's going to work a show later this month.
Yeah, he's in Birmingham, right?
I'm not sure what part of the South he lives in, but he's somewhere in Alabama for sure.
Yeah, he's a real nice kid. Great. I love it. He's not that big a guy, but really good hand.
Still walking that top rope.
Yeah, he was like George South. Just a very respectful guy and really fun to work with.
Wrestle World on Twitter wants to know, who's your favorite opponent you've ever had, or a guy that you had a relationship with that doesn't get the credit he deserves? We've talked about favorite opponents a lot, Rick, but is there a guy who doesn't get the credit he deserves?
Yeah, Barry Windham, who I'm going to go see tomorrow.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
I saw Bray, and I saw I'm trying to think. I saw Bray, and I saw
probably don't say anything else. Maybe just I'll tell you.
No. I saw Bray, and I saw Barry's sister.
Okay, good.
And he's not in Gainesville, Florida. He's here in Tampa. And I had the wrong information, so I'm compound. That's what they call it, the Rotundo compound.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, but Stephanie Windham. And I was telling everybody that if you wanted to meet the daughter of one of the really tough guys in the business, you were talking to her. So blackjack was something else. But no, Stephanie and filled me in on Barry, and Barry is recovering nicely.
Good.
But he is by far the most underrated, great wrestler of all time, and he was great.
You mentioned being back at Monday Night Raw, and we saw pictures. Did you see Dave Batista there?
No, but I talked to Dave. I didn't see Dave, and I'm sure he was there. But I'll tell you what, have you seen Dave in that new movie?
It's amazing. Knives Out, The Glass Onion.
Oh my God, is he not? He steals the show.
He did a great job in that.
I don't give. I mean, I know that guy's Daniel Craig is a big deal, but man, Dave ate him alive in that show. Dave was phenomenal. He's lost weight. He looks great. I'm actually going to try and have lunch with him on Thursday because he has to leave to go back on set.
Well, it was fantastic. If you haven't seen it, go check out Dave Batista.
Oh God, unbelievable!
The director of that movie says he's the best wrestler turned actor that he's ever seen. So Dave's getting his props right now.
Yeah, he should. I'm sure he's getting paid too because Guardian's coming out again. So good for him.
Good for him, indeed.
What a great guy.
You mentioned that going back, it felt more like family. Is this the first show you've been to since Vince has sort of stepped down?
So in the first show I've been through since that bullshit with the airplane.
I got you. Well, good for you, man.
Yeah, no, but you know what? I just walked in. Kevin Dunn said, "Come on," and of course I cleared it with Hunter, and Hunter couldn't have been nicer. It's like it's like anything I was ever cross about with them or them with me. It's like it didn't exist that day. It was perfect.
Good.
And I took Chad and his son, and we met Roman, and Roman was great. John was great. I looked at Sami Zayn. They were all in the same dressing room. And I said, "Brother, you got heat with me." He goes, "Why? What'd I do?" I said, "I'm just kidding. I meant your character." He thought I was being serious. I said, "No, his character still gets heat with me. And no wonder it gets heat with the Marks."
I got to tell you, I think, Sami Zayn is arguably a lot of people's wrestler of the year last year.
Hey, you know what's funny? I couldn't stand the character, but now I'm starting to appreciate it and watch it more. He does add a lot to it. I didn't like him. I think I said it. I think I even tweeted it. Don't dilute what's so good, but he's added a lot of entertainment value to it.
He's having one of his best years ever.
Yeah, good for him.
Just Another Day on Twitter says, "What's the one match you wish you could do over? The match you wish you could have done something different that would have made it even more memorable? The missed opportunity." Is there one match that stands out?
You're not gonna. I can answer that just like that. What do you think I'm going to say?
Nashville.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm begging to do it again. I'm begging because I've told 100 people, how do I forget to drink water all day long? That's all that happened to me.
Yeah.
You saw me. I drank 5 beers right afterwards. That's fine.
My favorite story is in the locker room, in your private dressing room after, and we had a couple of doctors there come and communicate with you, and they have a runner go bring you Gatorade, and you're like, "Get that fucking Gatorade out of here! I don't want that."
That was Taker. Taker made me drink it.
Taker goes, "Hey, I'll take that Gatorade." He takes the Gatorade, twists the top off, and says, "Drink it." And you go, "Okay."
Yeah, I sure did. There's only one Taker, man. He tells you to do something, you do it.
Amazing.
No, I was really. I swear to God, I can think of a lot of things I've screwed up in matches, and things you would change. But I just know that could have been golden. I just hadn't dehydrated. I don't know how I could have made that mistake, because you know how much work I put in with Lethal. We had everything out. I mean,
I saw the match 3 times. I saw you do the match completely 3 times, and
we had so much more to do. God, it would have been great, but God, I just once I started getting dizzy, I went, "God, now I'm just trying to get through it." Right?
Yes.
So, and then I had to call that horrible audible on the floor because we were going to go in the finish right there. But I look back with Megan and Karen, and I mean, it was classic stuff. It was exciting. The crowd was a little too big time, and it was fun. And on top of that, you got Kid Rock sitting out there. I mean, it's pretty. Not only Bret Hart, and then Brett, who never drinks, came over to Kid Rock's place and drank. I mean, it was just a phenomenal night for me. I just could have made it better. I hate to repeat myself, but it's just the truth.
Well, listen, I thought it turned out as good as we could have hoped. I had a good time. It was memorable, and folks are still talking about it. And there's still pieces of it that live on, because later tonight, as folks are listening to this, Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett are going to be challenging for the AEW tag team titles. And I don't know that you've had a chance to see, but Jeff Jarrett has old school heat in AEW. They're sort of in on the gag and winking and nod with MJF, but they hate Jeff Jarrett. Would you be surprised to see Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal become tag team champions tonight?
No.
Me neither.
It'd be, I wouldn't. I think it'd be great. I mean, they both. First of all, Jay has never gotten a recognition for how good a performer he is, and of course, Jeff, I think, is really good. And he looks like $1 million. How old is Jeff now? 45.
He's 55, and he looks better than ever.
Yeah, he does.
It's amazing.
Well, and when you quit drinking, man, I guess it can change your physique around.
Well,
I'll just say a cosmetic disaster that I am, but that's okay. I'll make it through.
Well, it's not because we don't know where to eat. We're eating at Woo Wings these days. The Nate has its own virtual restaurant brand, now operating in more than 30 locations across 11 different states. You can order the legendary flavors and World Championship Woo Wings on your Uber or Postmates app in Nashville, San Antonio, Miami, Jacksonville, Clearwater, Florida, all over LA and New York, Charlotte, Raleigh, Concord, North Carolina, Atlanta, and Richmond Hill in Georgia, Tuscaloosa and Huntsville in Alabama, plus Tulsa, Providence, and so many more. Woo Wings is a virtual brand, so it's delivery only. The food is made by restaurant partners with an existing location who are looking to add more to their bottom line. For a complete list of current locations or to find out more about becoming one of Ric Flair's restaurant partners, visit RicFlairWings.com. And if you're in a Woo Wing city, order today from the Uber Eats or Postmates app and try the only chicken wings worthy of carrying the name of the 16-time World Heavyweight Champion, Woo Wings. Rick, I got to tell you, I had the lemon pepper recently. I hadn't had that before. It was fantastic.
Unreal. I know. I just can't believe it. We discussed it last week. The price of chicken has gone up a little bit, but we're getting it worked out. It'll be within a year. It'll really be huge.
Mongo has a question for us on Twitter. He says, can we get a never-before-told story about the Great American Bash in 1986 when the NWA ran an event at the old Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia?
Oh, yeah. I think I wrestled, if I'm not mistaken, I wrestled Mike Hegstrand there. Does it sound right?
Road Warrior Hawk.
Yeah.
How was Philly as a wrestling town? One of your favorites?
Oh, God, the best. I mean, not the best, but yeah. Philly's one of the top 5 wrestling towns in the country.
Yeah. Chicago, Philadelphia.
Chicago, Philadelphia.
Baltimore.
St. Louis, my God. Yeah, St. Louis is insane. The West Coast, I guess, was good. My memories are the towns that are, like I say, east of the Mississippi. But Chicago and St. Louis, God, were huge. But Philly was crazy. They had 18,000 people at the Spectrum, the WWE did, and Jim Crockett Promotions had 10,000 at the Civic Center. That's where I met Barkley. I mean, the same night. And then we were all met back in the Marriott afterwards, both companies. Man, what a night that was.
Talk to me about it was actually a question we had. Greg Hill wants to know, describe in detail what Nature Boy's hotel room would look like after a night of naching it back in the mid-'80s.
Something that required 3 maids and $100 tip to clean up. $100 tip a piece.
Yes.
Fix this shit.
Sorry.
Help.
Yes. Hired Goon on Twitter wants to know, if Randy Savage had lived, would he have gotten one more match around his Hall of Fame induction year?
Would he have gotten what?
One more match around his Hall of Fame induction year. That's kind of common. You had a match right before or right around your Hall of Fame induction.
I don't know. I'll be honest with you. Because of what happened to Randy, I don't know that he could have passed the physical. We were taking physicals back then, left and right, still. I mean, we were going to Pittsburgh, all of us, mandatory to have, even to get into the ring. I mean, they really, really scrutinized these guys' health issues now as a result of the trauma, of a result of the awareness to all kinds of different things.
Right.
And having that heart issue, he might not have passed the physical, because I'm sure he wasn't aware of the fact that his heart was that bad.
Right.
So, but the answer to that is I don't know. He certainly would have deserved it.
DJ says, who do you think or feel should induct Charlotte into the Hall of Fame?
Hunter.
Mm.
Yeah, absolutely, Hunter. Yeah, he's been so inspirational in our life. Either Hunter or Stephanie. I mean, outside of the business, they've become close friends. If we're going to be a female
Competitor, probably Sasha.
Yeah, Sasha would be great, but I just think that
Becky.
I think no, I don't think that would work. I had to listen to that little bird that her ex-boyfriend chirped last week. Jesus.
Oh, really?
Oh, never mind. We don't get into it. I don't acknowledge him or her. So no, I think it'd be somebody in management. I think she's really close to Stephanie. I think she's really close to Hunter. Oh God, I'd have to think about that, but it would be someone that has seen her grow and been through all the trials and tribulations, meaning the stuff with the Reed and all that. I mean, it was a lot.
Yeah.
When she started, that's when all that stuff with the Reed happened, and they were there for her, and they, didn't have anything to do with where she is today. But when you're young and you go through something that difficult to live with, which haunts you, it'll be, by the way, just because I know be 10 years in March this year since he's gone.
Yeah.
That was the hardest part of the documentary for me to watch, because they had so much footage of Reed. But yeah, I think like Stephanie or Hunter, they would do or do, and she'd be honored to have someone like that do that. And I'm sure they'd be honored if she asked them.
Robert wants to know, can you please give some details on your matches with Jimmy Superfly Snuka? I heard you say you had matches with him. I've only found grainy videos on YouTube. Thank you for your time. Superfly.
Yeah, I wrestled Jimmy a lot.
What were those like?
Great. Jimmy is great, boy. Smooth. Jimmy's another guy that got heavier later on, but when he was 230 pounds, he was a gazelle. He could jump high in the air, double leapfrog. We were doing stuff that I was doing with Sting in the 70s.
Wow.
He could press slam me. He could do all that stuff. Yeah. He'd do all the little bit of Steamboat took a little bit of his stuff, with the sliding chops and that. And
yes.
Yeah, Jimmy was great. What a wonderful. I was there when Tamina was born.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, in Charlotte. So I've known him for a long time. Then I got to know Carol. I haven't heard from Carol for a long time, but whatever happened in Jimmy's life later on, I'm not privileged to know, but as a wrestler, I mean, you can see we used to beat the crap out of each other.
Oh man, looking at this old footage.
Jimmy wasn't afraid to pull out a blade either, man. Look, there he goes, right there.
Yeah,
I can spot that a mile away.
yeah.
We were just two young guys, I'm already covered in blood. So Jimmy, we started Minneapolis together, right? He was Mr. Hawaii 5 times.
Right.
When he broke his wrist, he said, "Brock, come here, Brock." He wrapped his wrist in leaves.
In leaves.
Didn't even look at the physique on him. Didn't even get a cast put on his hand.
My goodness.
There's 2 young lions trying to get over in the business. You talk about a couple of stiff pricks. Look at this.
Clearly, you're working as a heel here, but did you ever work against the heel Snuka?
Was Jimmy Snuka? No, he could never be a heel with me.
Yeah.
Hey, they love Jimmy.
No kidding.
Even Jimmy Snuka was over in New York like nobody's business, man. Superfly.
Look at the bell bottoms on the referee there as you put it.
Yeah.
Sonny
Fargo.
What a talent he was.
Yeah. We beat the crap out of each other back in those days. Who found that? Steve?
Yeah, it's on YouTube. Our producer, Steve Kaufman, found it. Mr. Tuxedo Pants on Twitter wants to know, what was or is your opinion of Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert?
I liked Eddie a lot. He was a pretty fair worker. Paul Heyman was telling me a story about a year ago about me and Eddie. I don't remember, but
in Memphis or somewhere else?
No, he was working the Oklahoma Territory when I went in there, and I stayed with him a couple of times and traveled with him. But Eddie was a real nice kid. I can't remember what Paul was telling me, but it was something I had completely forgotten about. Well, I think Eddie was on the booking committee or something for a while.
Yeah,
is that possible?
Yes, it is.
Okay, all right. See, that just comes and goes, those damn booking committees. Good Lord.
Will Jr. says, in recent years...
My worst nightmare, the booking committee. 5 hours of work to have just torn up on the floor.
Not really your thing.
They wonder why we drank. Good Lord.
No kidding. Noel Jr. says, in recent years, is there anyone that you wish you had an opportunity to manage? I've always thought a Ric Flair and heel Ziggler pairing would have been great.
Yeah, I would love to have managed him.
Is there anybody else?
With the fact that I got myself in I could manage somebody right now. I'd love to manage somebody right now with the opportunity. Because, I mean, I just think it's important. I could manage any number of guys, but it's never going to happen. So it's just a dream. But like I said, I would really love to manage Andrade because he is such a great worker. But it just the language barrier just sometimes holds guys back that are much better than they're ever given an opportunity to be.
Joshua wants to know, what was Ole's reaction to the Briscoes selling their parts of Georgia Championship Wrestling to Vince?
He was going to beat them both up, and that hasn't happened yet. He told Jack Briscoe to meet him at Jack and Jerry to meet him at the Ramada Inn in Atlanta. They're both there, and Ole ain't showed up yet. Thank God for Ole.
Yeah. Troy Houghton wants to know, Happy New Year's, fella.
The Briscoes walked into the Charlotte Coliseum locker room the day they did that, and nobody said a fucking word to them. Nobody said a word. Except, hi, Jerry. Hi, Jack. How you doing?
Yeah.
We going to drink tonight? Nobody gave Jack and Jerry Briscoe any shit. Different time in life. You didn't want nothing to do with the Briscoes. Especially if they'd had 10 Budweiser and smoked a couple joints. Jerry, I hope you're hearing this.
I think, yeah, I've heard a story that I'll just keep to ourselves here.
No, don't bring up that. You know, Jack Briscoe. I never snorted cocaine in my life, right? Never. And Jack Briscoe held me down at a party in an apartment, man, and they poured it on the carpet, and he was rubbing my face in it, trying to get me. I mean, he was that tough. I couldn't get away from him. But I never gave in.
And then you went and wrestled 3 30-minute Broadway or hour-long Broadways and never went to sleep.
The next day. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about Barry Windham's kindest words for me on the documentary? So I drank all night at Flair, then I took him to that's what I said to Stephanie. I said, and I took him to up to his room in a bell cart naked. Nice, Barry. That's not true. You do better than that.
Oh, he never put you on a luggage cart.
Oh, I'm sure he did, but it's not supposed to. He could have said something more flattering than that.
I love it.
How about I love working with Nate? He was really good. No, it's always about drinking and naked and a luggage cart.
Well, in fairness, now they probably interviewed him for 4 hours and used 2 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Troy Houghton wants to know, Happy New Year's, fellas. Can Rick tell us where the best food was on the road back in the day? What about steaks in Texas or sushi in Tokyo? Keep up the great work.
Well, my favorite place back to go in the day was Sabatino's in Baltimore.
Yes.
In New York, it would have been Mama Leone's. In Chicago, it was Gibson's, as it still is now. In LA, probably the Sunset Social Club or Club One. Frisco, I loved Chinatown in the old days. A lot of great restaurants. And, you know, we didn't, I wasn't one of those guys that ran through McDonald's very often. So I always found a good place to eat. I didn't go there to drink. I just sent someone to get the food. Party first. Never confuse the two, Conrad.
That's right.
You can't eat and drink. It's not healthy.
Doesn't work.
No.
These days, of course, everybody in Baltimore knows about Jimmy's Famous Seafood.
I know. We love that.
And now jimmysfamousseafood.com is shipping food nationwide with free 2-day nationwide shipping on orders over $125 when you use our promo code FLAIR. These are the best crab cakes in the world. Don't take my word for it. Try them for yourself. Eric Bischoff cooked his on the grill this year and said it was like touching the face of God. Bruce Pritchard has said it has ruined him on crab cakes anywhere else. He can't order them anywhere else. Find out what all the fuss is about and order the best crab cakes in the world from jimmysfamousseafood.com. And be sure to check out their soups, their chowders, their oysters, their signature steaks, plus their desserts and even their gluten-free items. They've got great gifts here, too. If you're looking for somebody who's still hard to buy for, what about the famous gift box? It has 4 of the world's best colossal Maryland crab cakes, 2 different crab soups, crab dip, seafood seasoning, and their signature bay sauce. Or maybe it's time to get ready for the big championship game or some playoff football. Well, try the tailgate bundle, 2 pounds of wings, a full rack of ribs, a pint of crab dip and crab cake mix, or just create your own package. Jimmy's Famous Seafood is the real deal. The boys and girls for both AEW and WWE eat it on the road, and they never miss a chance to stop in Baltimore. But why not get Baltimore delivered to you at jimmysfamousseafood.com? Use our promo code FLAIR and get free 2-day shipping. Jimmy's Famous Seafood, Rick. Enough nice things about those guys.
No, God, it's fabulous.
I
still would have had food brought to the hotel.
Oh, for sure.
The Safari Club was it, man. Baltimore was hard to get out of the Safari Club. I don't even know they had food at the Sheraton Hotel, but they had a Safari Club.
There you go. Let's talk a little football. Matt Godfrey on Twitter wants to know, Rick, in your opinion, who's the better QB, Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes?
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I agree.
That guy does stuff I've never seen anybody do. I'm not sure that Joe Burrow is not number 2. I think the top 3 quarterbacks right now, and plus their teams are good too. So, my favorite. I mean, I'd hate to say it because I don't want to be a guy that says I said so, but Aaron Rodgers and Tom had a pretty good weekend, right? And to all those dumbasses, some of these guys on ESPN, I don't even know who they are. Brady will never play. Well, they're going to win the division, 425 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 rushing, 4 touchdowns.
No interceptions.
And by the way, can you know how much I love the Packers beating the Vikings? I drank 5 pickleback shots right there.
I love it.
Yeah, it's a personal joke between you and I, but
Casey Caps wants to know, what are your thoughts about wrestling at the Chase? You talked about St. Louis earlier, man, and you got
the greatest. It was just tough though because it was an hour-long show, 2 interviews, and then 2 matches, and it's in front of like literally less than 100 people, and it's Sunday morning. You've been out all night long. Sometimes I flew in from like Atlanta, flew in from Portland, Oregon, wherever I was, just to be on the show. But tell you that wrestling in St. Louis was huge. I mean, that's how Jim Hurd, he was a station manager at KPLR. That didn't really qualify him as a wrestling expert, but somehow he convinced someone that it did because the show was that popular. I think it was the first show to ever be sponsored by McDonald's.
Wow.
It was huge. The rating was unbelievable. And I think it was nationwide, wasn't it?
I don't know. I mean, I know it had a big reach. I didn't know it was nationwide.
Well, whatever it was huge.
Yeah, it had a big reach.
Yeah.
Sean Berkey wants to know, how did you feel about Buddy Landell using the Nature Boy moniker?
I didn't mind it at all. I feel bad that Buddy I don't know what to say about Buddy, except that he just, number one, he was a hell of a worker. Number two, I don't know how it got away from him, but I wasn't bothered by that. As a matter of fact, we had 2 or 3 really good matches. Buddy could work his ass off.
One in the Dorton Arena, right?
There and a couple other towns, I can't remember, but yeah, Buddy could really work. I worked with Buddy in San Juan. That's first time I met Buddy. Buddy could work though, and I liked him as a person. So you never know what these guys. You know what happens at the end of their career, and they do these things where they. I don't know if it's a real reflection on how they feel about you. But these guys do these. They're so hard up to do one of these to make 2,500 or whatever they make doing these shoot interviews.
Yeah,
and I think he cracked on me one time, but it's like Shane Douglas cracking on me. Who is Shane Douglas? Does that make sense?
Yeah. He
made a living on doing it, but who is he? As we discussed, Casno and I discussed that last week. So you never know what people are going to do or what they're going to say when they're trying to make money, trying to create drama, trying to not make drama, just trying to get themselves in a position where someone's listening to them.
Yeah.
But for me personally, I got along with Buddy. I thought he was a hell of a worker.
RJ Richards says, thoughts on Portland. What was it like working with Billy Jack Haynes, Rip Oliver? Please talk about these men.
Oh, it was great. Well, first of all, working for Don Owen was phenomenal. Don actually paid the 10%, very much like Sam did. He was honest. He had a big cattle ranch, over 1,000 head of cattle on it. Great guy. He'd come to Vegas and he'd take everybody to dinner, but he wouldn't buy any fish. He'd only buy a steak dinner. Anybody ate fish was allowed at dinner. even a shrimp cocktail. No, he was just a great guy. And working with Billy Jack, I worked with Billy Jack, Piper, Rip Oliver. What's the big guy, Buddy Rhodes? Yep. Buddy Rhodes was a hell of a worker too. I mean, yep. It was fun. It was easy. The crowds were very enthusiastic. It was just really laid back. I mean, easy. That's where his brother Elton used to have Harley challenge Mark to come into the ring. Harley would walk down and go, and this was in Eugene. Harley would go, Elton, I said, if you want to challenge one of the fans and that, I said, no, Elton, I just want to get back to Portland. Don't worry about me challenging the fans. He said, well, Harley does it all the time for me. I give him an extra 500. I said, you can have the 500. Harley would challenge the fans to come in, Harley, right?
Yeah.
It was a horrible attempt to beat up Harley Race.
Yes. Yes. You're gonna get stitches.
Huh?
You're gonna
So
need.
you're gonna get hurt.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
Because you ain't making him through the ropes. He's not playing by the rules. You're coming through the ropes, getting a boot in the head. I've seen it many times.
Dan Gedon wants to know, what did you think of the old Continental Territory?
Great. Ron Fuller was great too. They're very laid back. That's where I met Arn. You worked Panama City. You worked Pensacola on Friday, or no, Sunday. On Sunday, I had it right. First of all, Birmingham. The only tough trip was Birmingham on Monday, so that was 280 back to Pensacola. Then the whole thing was less than 1,000 miles a week, and you're back in the bar by 11:30 at the latest, and they're open till 2. It was a lot of fun. Used to be, I stayed at that Holiday Inn, and I used to a place called Cowboys.
Right.
No, Rodeo. Rodeo, that was just phenomenal. We'd all go over there and have a great time. It's when the guys were able to relax without, all the stress of social media and that.
One last question, Rick. This is from Red SC75. If you had been able to pick, who would you have dropped the title to and why? A, Ricky Morton, B, Nikita Koloff, C, Magnum TA, or D, Buddy Landell?
The answer would be Morton and Magnum TA. And I'll tell you why. Because I wrestled them both a lot of our Broadways.
Okay.
And they both were really, really responsible guys. And you had to love the business to be the NWA world champion.
Yes. Because
it was an insane job. So that Morton and I did 9 hours in 1 week, right?
No, wow.
18 and 2. Remember I told you that time? We sold out everywhere, and it came back around and did it again.
It's crazy.
Yeah, we didn't do quite an hour the second time around, but the angle was that hot. And they both loved the business enough that I think they could have adapted to the schedule. But also, I don't know that Ted DiBiase is another one that could have done it, I think. I just don't know that Buddy Landell would have liked the schedule. I don't know if he could wrestle an hour every night.
Right.
And who was the other one you asked me?
Buddy Landell, Magnum TA, Ricky Morton.
Oh, and Nikita. Nikita was a great kid, but he didn't like the business that much.
Right.
And he would have said, screw this 1 week out. 1 week in Kansas City territory, he'd say, I'm out of here, man. For everything and wrestling. Like, can you imagine Nikita and Rufus wrestling an hour every night?
Oh yeah.
It just would have been difficult. Not enough experience, but also you got to really love the business to be the world champion and travel like that, and try to give the fans your very best and make everybody as happy as possible.
Well, you're making a lot of people happy these days with RicFlairShop.com. There's something for everybody. You've got new T-shirts, you got hoodies, you got stickers and tank tops and coffee cups and hats and backpacks. And check it out. It's for the ultimate Ric Flair fan in your life. How about that? Even a Ric Flair watch. It's all happening right now at RicFlairShop.com. Rick, I didn't know what to expect today, especially after the pretty somber news of a different kind of Monday Night Football that we saw last night.
Yeah, wow.
We're still with Mr. Hamlin, and man, I don't know what I expected, but I still managed to have fun with you today. So thanks for making the time.
Well, thank you. It's funny. When I told you I saw Hunter, right, and the first thing I said to him, I said, he went like this. He's got one now too,
Oh,
so he's had the heart issue.
Yeah.
To what extent, I don't know the whole story. I'll be catching up with him soon. But for me, I'm so glad that I can feel comfortable going back to see Ashley and seeing all the guys, and they made me feel like 100%. And it's something I don't realize till I get back there. You've traveled with me and know it. tell them when I hated it when I first left. I got mad about, we just, different things happened. They made choices. I made choices. But at the end of the day, it's my life. It's part of my family. And I won't be missing any events. And I made it clear to Hunter that I'd like to be able to come to as many as I want. And he said, absolutely.
Hey, and Rick, before we get out of here, I know you want to give a special shout out because you've had some controversy over the last couple of years. And there were two guys who really stuck by you through all of that. Ryan Fiterman from Fiterman Sports. And of course, the great relationship you had with Car Shield. When it seemed like the world was against you, those two guys were in your corner. So we want to give a special shout out to Fiterman Sports and, of course, the great folks over at Car Shield.
Yeah, thank you. They meant the world to me. And I mean, the day it went down, Ryan called me and he said, hey, man, I got your back. I know it's bullshit. And the same thing with the people from Car Shield. And it was bullshit.
Well, that's going to do it for us this week here on To Be the Man. We'll be back next week talking about what's on the Nature Boy's mind right here on To Be the Man with Ric Flair.
Woo! Thanks, guys.